At the main screen for the server, and I noticed that I still do not have the send. And then, well, I mean, it's not like a terrible realization or anything, but if I want to play the way that I have played Crawl for people on stream for all this time, for 5 years, then that means that I cannot play the send mode ever. Cannot play the send mode ever. Um, Otherwise, I could play the send mode locally because I think that I can just download local a local version and that would allow me to play the send. But you cannot see tiles while I play console if I do that. So yeah, um, let's get this done today. Some poltergeist gaming. You know, the low armor class that these guys have hasn't been that much of a problem yet, but I know that it will be a problem given enough time, which makes me a little bit nervous. Is that 5 enchant armors? Where did I get all of that from? Um, Regardless, maybe it's time to start piercing or like maybe breaking stuff and replacing it with fully enchanted versions of the stuff that I would be breaking. Um, what I want is either ego gear, branded gear, or artifacts, of course. But I mean, if I was to get artifacts, I wouldn't be able to enchant them. So I guess hoarding those scrolls doesn't really matter. But yeah, I surely have I surely have some like branded stuff on the floor. Nothing really? No way. I was sure I would at least have one thing. But all I have is branded shields, which unfortunately, like, come on, why can't I wear 3 shields being a poltergeist? Um, those, all of them are branded with protection too, so I would enjoy having a couple of protection shields. They would be better than some of the things that I already have. Um, but developers said no. What is this? The War Axe of Venom, highly enchanted, and a sling, heavy sling. Very exciting stuff, but not for me. The kind of stuff that would be run defining, perhaps, if I had been playing, if I had found those things earlier, run defining. But the thing is that it's been a while since we started this character. In terms of turn count, it's been 43,000 turns, and in terms of playtime, it's been over 2 hours. So yeah, there is no way that I would be switching away from what I have built towards doing to some underwhelming artifacts. That, to be perfectly fair, I'm praising them, and I'm only talking about this at all in the first place because they're only underwhelming based on context, and the context is that it's too late in the game to really take advantage of them. But I bet you all knew that already. Switching to the Sword of Power for that tentacle monstrosity is a kill. The only thing that I want to have with the Greatsword really is an Hydra. Um, and yeah, okay, careful with that shambling mangrove. In fact, I would like to disengage and go upstairs. I am at relatively high HP, but I'm not at full, and I would rather just play it safe. There's no reason to not play it safe. Those hornets are a joke. They do not do anything against me. because I have immunity to poison. They do a little bit of damage, I suppose, because I don't have high armor class, but yeah, it's not enough. Not enough. And as the game goes on, I keep wasting opportunities to curse my gear further with Ashensari, but that is because I have not a lot to curse, unfortunately. Okay, we're about to fight, yeah, that Hydra and the Thorn Hunter, but they don't stand a chance against my 29 evasion. It's looking pretty good. Hello, John Golia. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, that's not great. I don't like how this is looking. No way. Am I dead? I had willpower. I was even higher level. I mean, that's not gonna happen. And why do I bother with that game? That game sucks. I had willpower. The chances of getting paralyzed were in like the single digit percent. That's why I was not even worried. Single digit percent. I wish I could have seen exactly how unlikely it was. But with that character, I did Elf. And throughout the entirety of Elf, I didn't get hexed once. That's how much um, willpower I had. Like, I had enough. Um, okay, so that was me about an hour and a half ago. No, about an hour. About an hour and a half ago. Let's go with that. Um, I was mad at Kroll, and that got me thinking about the game. I wanted to put this on YouTube because I think that it is very important. Um, Very important to preserve this, to save it for posterity. If you want to see part one of that character, I'm probably gonna put it on the Patreon. I don't think I'll put it on YouTube because, as you can see, it didn't end in a win. Um, when Kroll does that to you, it's doing the video game equivalent of you um, getting stuck in like literally a deadly accident, IRL. Um, It is a video game equivalent, which, of course, fortunately, it's not as devastating or high stakes as being in a literal deadly accident in real life where you're at full HP and then something happens and then you die instantly with no with nothing that you could have done. Um, Once again, at least it's a video game. There's no problem with this kind of thing happening in a video game beyond the levels of annoyance that it produces. And yeah, it annoyed me enough that I'm recording this now. Um, so yeah, I make that comparison to highlight how ridiculous the counterplay for that kind of thing is. The counterplay for that in Crawl is to see, oh, Fenstrider Witch, and even though I have enough willpower to make it extremely unlikely that it's gonna hex me, let alone hex me in the first attempt, it is going to happen, obviously, and I should play around it by blinking away or something. Like, you may have noticed that the turn right before I died, I was already trying to disengage from that fight because it was not going great for me. I figured that it was probably for the best that I tried to skedaddle away by reading a scroll of teleport, but I got paralyzed immediately afterwards. Like the same turn, I read the teleport, I got paralyzed, and I died before I could teleport away from that. Um, yeah. As I was mentioning, like the equivalent of that in real life would be to just never go out, never take a step out of your house, pretty much. Which is of course absolutely ridiculous and effectively impossible for the vast majority of people. Um, but that's how you would play around the extremely unlikely possibility of getting stuck in a deadly accident with no way to react to it in real life. But in crawl, the way to react to that would be to just like immediately see Fenstrider Witch, be aware that it has a really small chance to hex you, and just blink away or like do whatever you need to do to make that 0.1% chance or whatever it is. It was probably more than 0.1%, but it was still not high enough for me to be worried. But like, do whatever you need to do to reduce that possibility to straight up 0%, and then you're fine. The thing is that if you use that kind of consumable in every situation where there is an incredibly low chance of that happening, you're gonna run out of consumables real quick. You're gonna run out of real important consumables real quick, which is at its root my most important issue with crawl. Like my most serious problem with the game. The game does this kind of ridiculous thing. Um, just like the fact that it can happen at all is in my opinion not okay. Um, I have said it multiple times in multiple playthroughs. The way that I would rework the entirety of hexes, every hex related thing, is that maybe willpower is more like a shield thing, and every time you try to get hex, you lose a shield, and then like monster dependent. So like if you're getting hexed by X monster, you may have like two shields, and then the monster tries to hex you, and then it pierces through one shield, and then it pierces through another, and then you don't have shields, but you still haven't gotten paralyzed and instantly killed from full HP. So you know, oh, next time the monster tries to do that, it will work. It's guaranteed to work, and by extension, I can do something to make it not kill me. Um, I think that would be a much better way to make hexes work against the player, and also, why not, for the player? What if the player's hexes work like that? Because as it is with hexes, it can be supremely frustrating to be training for something only to find, late game enemies that have 3 pips of willpower or more, and then you cannot hex them at all. Monsters that are effectively immune to magic without actually being immune to magic, like leeches or orbs of fire or other nasties that you would see in the end game. And for those it makes sense, but for the other ones that are not immune to magic, but they're just like willpower high enough that you're not gonna hex them, that's kind of whack in my opinion. Um, but I have to say that even though I have this idea, I will never see it be implemented in the game. Um, and I know that because the only way that it would be for me to code it. And I do not know how to code, and I don't really want to learn. Um, Besides, I suspect that even if I went through all of that hurdle, would probably be rejected for something along the lines of not really adhering to the crawl design philosophy or something along those lines. Yep, something along those lines, 3 times. Um, so yeah. I have to say that in recent days it's been a little bit difficult for me to stream because I kind of have already ran to the ground my roguelike inspired card games, Monster Train um, and Slay the Spire. I don't really feel like it is a good idea to play those on stream anymore because they don't really attract any public. Very little interest whenever I'm playing them on stream in the chat. Very little chat interaction. Um, Very little in the way of contributions as well whenever I'm playing those. Um, Rift Wizard is better in that regard. Like, there's definitely more people and more contributions, and it helps a lot. But I am a little bit tired of Rift Wizard. I've played it almost nonstop for almost 2 months now. Like, it went out of early access in February, and then I played like a month in February, and then um, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it down, and then the beta branch got updated, and then I played that, and now that beta branch patch already went to main, but I feel like I'm reaching my breaking point with Rift Wizards. I don't want to burn it the way that I have burned Scroll throughout these years. So I don't really want to. I don't really want to stream that. And if I don't want to stream Crawl, and I don't want to stream Rift Wizard, and I don't want to stream roguelike inspired card games, then what do I stream? And most importantly, what do I stream that gets numbers? That is my real concern here because one of my most important things when it comes to streaming is producing something um, that I want to watch, that I would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense to watch. That is not just some um, slideshow or just like a video playing in the background with no audio even. Like I think that my commentary is what makes people tune into my streams and makes people tune into my videos because that is what I offer that other people that play the kind of games that I do cannot or do not offer. My commentary is my own only. And if I cannot produce good commentary, which happens to be the case whenever I'm playing things that are not Rift Wizard or Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, it is difficult to produce things that I myself am satisfied with. Um, Oh, one last thing, one last thought before ending this impromptu video that I decided to record after getting pretty mad at at the Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. Despite the fact that the game can be quite annoying at times and can be quite unfair, as you just witnessed earlier, it's still the game that gives me the most ease when it comes to producing commentary. I am astonished because I've been not really willing to move away from the game, but like more like forced to move away from the game because I just couldn't continue playing it at, at the rate that I was playing it when I started streaming in 2020. Um, and even then, I still come back and I still produce good commentary and so it's a little bit sad that I cannot play this and enjoy it the way that I did when I started in 2020. But at least it will be there when when the time comes for me to make a comeback. And maybe there will ever maybe there will be some time. One of these days we will get to a point where I can play this the way that I was playing it in 2020. Personally, I do not see how we get to that point from the position that I'm in now, but we never know. Yeah, thank you for everything, everyone. Thank you for your continued support. Um, Talking about that, thank you for your continued support, people from Patreon. Anthony, Dulo, Inon, Grapophilia, Fede, Frog, Shaper, Merlin, Alistair, Neil, Michalos, Scott, Plotny, Lincoln Die, Luis, Kent, Spartus, and brand new um, subscriber to my Patreon, Blake Collins. Unfortunately, I have not had the opportunity to add your name to this list, but next time that I make a video like this, your name will be here. Thank you for everything, Blake Collins. Thank you to those that have contributed to the stream through Twitch. Thank you to those who have donated. Not even in recent times. Thank you to everyone who has ever donated. It has helped me a lot. It's been essential for me to stay afloat in these times. Um, when I started to stream, pretty much at the same time COVID really hit the West. Um, I didn't really expect it to turn into what it has turned in these 5 years. Um, you have kept me afloat in some difficult situations in my life, and I will never be able to properly convey how much gratitude I have towards you for that. So with that being said, I look forward to bringing you more Rift Wizard. I still have plenty of Rift Wizard recorded, even if I'm not really playing that much of it in recent times. But I might go back to it because there's still a couple of things that were added to the main game in the most recent update, which was released yesterday. So I guess you can look forward to that. As for Crawl, I wanted to play a little bit of Crawl, and Crawl did this to me, so I think I'm just gonna take the hint and wait for the tournament. But yeah, not much else to say. See you around.